Hey, what's up, guys? Raids here. Today we've got a mount face-off born out of a friendly Discord discussion between the PalProfessor and Azrelus. We were talking about mount builds against hard mode Gastigor, and the debate went as follows. Who is harder to play against Bjorn and Bastigor hard mode? Is it this Tarantriss build or is it the Shadowbeak build? You can pause the video and check them out. Basically, the Shadowbeak build is all dark damage and no Serenity, and the Tarantriss build is meant to do Rockburst. To do this, I had to go out and catch some pals that I really don't have in my pal box anymore, as well as some passes that I no longer use, such as Lord of the Underworld. Here, I had a very messy Frost-Ellie Noct battle because I don't really have Frost-Ellie Noct with Lord of the Underworld, and I needed to catch them, to mash them together, to build new Shadowbeaks that have Lord of the Underworld, Siren of the Void, and Invader. And here I'm breeding a bunch of pals that I pretty much never touch together to get these mass passives together, as well as a Tarantriss, which I actually never mounted. So we actually had to go through the breeding process, and I had to match the mounts that they use 1-to-1. So I actually had to create a saddle here for Tarantriss, which I don't use. So here we've got the Tarantriss fight. I will leave the builds in the description in case you want to try them. The challenge is who is harder to play against Bjorn and Bastigor hard mode. PalProfessor says that this Tarantriss build is harder because you have to get a melee range, and Tarantriss is very squishy. And again, I had to make a saddle for her. I didn't have a saddle in my single player file. So here I'm seeing Tarantriss is very squishy. Immediately the file opens, the fight opens and she's half health because she gets chunked by all the gunplay going around. So I had to head behind and column and dodge a stone burst here, a stone beat, excuse me. So immediately you can use Tarantriss' skill to dodge, but really she's so squishy. She's almost at 1,000 defense with these passives, so it's very, very hard. Anything can squish her really pretty much. So I have to rely on withdrawing her and putting her close to the enemy so she can do her rock burst. As you can see here, I'm leaving her behind and then waiting until she finishes off the other infantry. Bjorn's minions are very, very strong against the squishy pal because as soon as you open this fight, it's just a ton of damage. So here I'm doing a rock burst, and it's kind of hard to land one on him because it's really easy for Tarantriss to get staggered. She doesn't have great defense and lower HP, not really the lowest HP, but pretty low. So whenever I'm not attacking with her, I have to withdraw her immediately. Very, very challenging, very demanding. This actually took a couple of tries on my end because I just had to learn how to play her. Interesting, I didn't really feel like I needed to use the partner skill a lot because just mounting her and using the partner skill to move around, I felt wasted a lot of time. But very, very challenging to actually get to her, to deal damage. And she does have Flame Funnel, so that helps a lot to get Bjorn set on fire. Now, while you see the gameplay here and me trying to keep the pal alive and myself out of trouble, let's talk over the challenge and the discussion in question here. And here's our double Blizzard Spike, which actually got clipped, which is very dangerous skill if you don't see it coming. It's pretty much a one-shot, and here I'm trying to dodge also this bullshit. So it's just Bjorns were very annoying whenever there's squishy pals. It's just he just one-shot a squishy pal, very dangerous. So the discussion basically boiled down to between these two builds, which one is harder to pull off this kill, assuming there's no player damage. So it's basically you and the mounts, and these pals, the two pals in questions that you're going to see, cannot get this skill. They cannot get the skill, excuse me, unless you mount them and contribute to the damage by mounting. So here I'm mounting Tarantriss and using her cooldowns as well, which is part of the challenge. I want to say it's an interesting discussion on PAL combat versus player damage. Here there's another rock burst. I'm just putting Tarantriss next to the boss and withdrawing her to dodge attacks. So the discussion went something like this. The Shadowbeak in question had to be alpha and it had to have those passives. The Shadowbeak build does not have Serenity. So that means that his cooldowns are longer than normal. The Tarantriss build does have Serenity, which I think helps a lot for tower bosses in this playstyle because I can just withdraw her, and whenever I put her next to the boss, she always has something to do, and also shorter cooldown skills. Now, the Shadowbeak does have higher stats, and it's Shadowbeak. It has 2 Divine Disasters and Dark Whisp, but it is an alpha, so it does get clipped more, and it is a little dangerous to play against a lot of Bjorn and Bastigor's attacks. So for example, Bjorn and Bastigor, I feel pretty confident leaving a Shadowbeak out whenever he's doing Dark Wisp, or whenever he's doing Spirit Flame, or whenever he's doing his water attacks. I don't really care. But Tarantriss is so squishy that I really don't feel comfortable letting her tank anything. It's part of the challenge here. So immediately when I did the Tarantriss kill, I went on the Discord, I'm like, hey, Tarantriss is actually pretty good. Like, getting into the boss's face and doing the rock burst is actually decent. Like, I didn't really get perfect rock burst all the time, but if you have her doubling up on, and oh my god, like Stonebeat is so annoying to dodge, it's so annoying. So immediately when I started spamming the Flame Funnel skill, I was like, okay, the damage looks pretty good. Combined with Rockburst and Airblade, she actually is doing decent. Look at the damage; it's pretty good. I mean, this is not bad. And then as soon as I felt comfortable with the gameplay. I'm like, okay, everything's kind of stabilized. All the ads are dead. I kind of figured out how I'm playing her and how I'm going to fight, how I'm going to manage a fight. I was like, okay, this is doable. And then I thought, hey, you know what? Shadowbeak is probably going to smoke this because it's Shadowbeak, and he has, in this fight, in this test we're doing, this build, Shadowbeak has essentially 80% multiplicative dark damage on top of his stab bonus. So we're talking, he's got Invader, he's got Siren of the Void, which is another 30% dark damage. He's got the Elemental passive, the Lord of the Underworld passive. So that's a lot of multiplicative dark damage being added on top of the 4 Hoocrates. In this, both of these builds, they have 4 Hoocrates, so there's no Gale Claw and there's no pal swapping. It's just 1 mount, which is why it's a mount challenge. And that means that essentially the damage that you're dealing with the pals is just going to be everything you can do with mounted combat. So as soon as I felt, hey, I'm totally going to get this kill with the Tarantriss, it's not a problem, this is doable, I was like, well, Shadowbeak is probably not going to have a problem, and it's going to be definitely much easier to do it with Shadowbeak. But as you're going to see in the footage, I actually realized that the Shadowbeak build is really challenging on this fight because there's no Serenity. Shadowbeak, technically, he might be better on this fight with Serenity, which, it's just going to be better because of the way that the limitations of the challenge. But I honestly was really surprised at how close they were. The Shadowbeak build, even though people think Shadowbeak, okay, a lot of damage, it wasn't really that much stronger compared to Tarantriss. I believe, if I have to look at the numbers here, Tarantriss got the kill, I want to say slower, but not by much. It was all like, they were all sub 8-minute kills, but the difference was like 20 seconds. I got to go back and look to my notes. I'll leave it in the video description if you're curious about the time, or you can check it out yourself at the end of the video. The difference in time wasn't really that much, and I think it comes down to just how strong instant short cooldown multi-hit attacks like Airblade and Rockburst really are, where they kind of compete with Shadowbeak's Divine Disaster 1, 2, and Dark Wisp. And obviously, Bjorn and Bastigor is a fight where it's pretty unique because you can't really Holy Burst your way out of it. He doesn't really take much damage. He's too narrow for Holy Burst, so you have to rely on other moves that are multi-hits. So yeah, it was just a very fun time to test these 2 builds out against each other. As I was mentioning in the Discord, I wish the game had a way for you to test builds without having to breed through them. The breeding process is really much the most time-consuming part, but pitting builds against each other like this and doing challenges, interesting challenges like this is really, really fun. Had a lot of fun with this. So if you want to try it out yourself, you can go ahead and pause the video in those segments and check out the builds. Follow our breeding guide on YouTube. I have one, but there's a lot of good breeding resources out there at this point for putting together whatever pal you want, and then messing around with the game like this. Tower bosses, I can definitely see the appeal why players like Azrelus and PalProfessor experiment a lot on tower bosses, because they're a really interesting way to test different things in a one-on-one situation. And obviously, the stronger the boss, then the better you can see. And it's just a totally different environment to raids. So I will leave you guys to that to watch the rest of the footage here. Obviously, Bjorn is about to die here, and then the Shadowbeak kill is coming up. At the end of both kills, I showed the game settings, so you can see it's just default damage. There's no adjustments to incoming or outgoing pal damage or to incoming player damage or anything like that. I will leave the video in the video description, as well as the relevant video from PalProfessor and basically the context for what spurred this video. And I want to say, even though this was a debate between 2 pretty knowledgeable, obviously very knowledgeable players, really it turns out they were both right. They're just really hard builds against Bjorn and Bastigor. So it looks like pal damage builds are still, especially mount builds, are still in a position where they're very challenging to play against the harder content, and they are more challenging than player damage builds. It's just the reality. Like I felt like during these fights, my positioning needed to be really good. I needed to have a lot of awareness to what the boss was doing, and I felt at all times like if I screwed up a little bit, I would die. My pal would die, and that was it, or I would die. Definitely very challenging. So I will leave you guys to that. I think I've said, given you guys all the info you need for the context of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and that you're able to try this out yourself. The Tarantriss challenge and the Shadowbeak challenge is very interesting to do when you're in hard mode. Had a lot of fun doing this. Here we can see Shadowbeak obviously with the opener and the Divine Disasters. And trying to dodge a rocket there, by the way, at the start. And again, the challenge is you can't do any player damage. You have to use these mounts before Hoocrates. You cannot use any other pals, and the build has to be exactly like that. And the Shadowbeak has to be alpha, by the way, because for some reason, Azrelus' Shadowbeak is alpha. Kill time was really close, like I said. It looks like both people in this debate were right. It's just a hard build. And I feel like I love mounted combat. I think I'm decent at it. I don't think I'm like perfect at it, but I think I'm okay. And honestly, I had a hard time with both of them. They both took, I want to say, a handful of tries. So I will leave you guys to that. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Appreciate any comments and support you can give the channel. Thank you as always for watching, and thank you to PalProfessor and Azrelus for suggesting the builds and for the concept in the first place. Thank you for watching. I will see you on the next one.